morning, or top of wherever you are, really. How are you? Well, I'm feeling good. Yeah, that's good. Things I'm thinking about. So, a bit of MGTOW stuff. I don't want to go too deep into it. Well, go as deep as you need to go, really. Maybe PGTOW, just be people doing their own thing rather than only set gender. But then again, genders are different, so women do different things than men. Maybe want a bit of time out from something, maybe you're fed up with it. You know, there's all good reasons why you've gone MGTOW. I mean, I went MGTOW ages ago. I think it's because of my divorce. It was just like so messed up for a bit. And it's like 2 years before I got into the right, well, we're just going to have to, basically, we just split up. And then I felt better by not being with her. And then I just went, you know, I don't need this. And so I went. But then I tried to reintegrate so many years later, and it was just difficult to find what I was looking for, so that's why I'm going to focus my attention more abroad. And now I'm starting to get into a position where I've got a bit more money, because relationships cost money. Because you can't, well, not unless, I don't know why somebody would want to get into a relationship where somebody has no money, but maybe it's possible, you know, it could be somebody you've known for a long time or something like that. But yeah, it's usually about resources for a man. They've got to bring some resources into the table. And it's also reverse for a man. A man should be thinking about what does it offer. Stop, I'm stuck hanging around anyway. What does it offer him in return? You know, is he going to get some level of security? Sometimes men don't think so much about that. I think just because we're quite simplistic in how we react emotionally to things. Lovely. That's glassed out. Got different things going on. So yeah, so there's it depends on the person, but there's obviously clear differences. What people want from a relationship. You know, how does it benefit? I mean, for men, there's always this thing about sex is also an important factor. But anyway, let's go on to the other bits I was looking at. I was looking at things because I come across this stuff about hypergamy and about cycles and women. And then I think, well, men have got their own cycles as well, but they're probably more likely to be, they're more likely to fluctuate in the week or something like that. And they often, well, for men, it's probably around their sexual releases. So, you know, if somebody's not having sex, then maybe as a bloke, or is not sexually active, or it's not, well, let's be honest, it's not masturbating basically, that his hormones is likely to be more in an alpha state. And there's other things as well, like when you go OMAD or do fasting, you know, they call it, they sometimes call it, you're not hungry, hangry, because you're hungry, angry, so it's more the body's fight mechanism to survive is there, and so they're more alpha, so you're more alpha if you're in that state. And then you become accustomed to it, so you're just kind of more driven, self-driven. It's more of a smouldering hangry than a kind of I need it, I'm going to get it sort of thing. You're more controlled, and I think that's quite important. Finding emotional control as a man. You know, you can be angry, but you've got to be able to focus it and use it in a correct way. Not be ruled by the emotion, but be tempered by it. That's why I call it tempo. Like metal. That's the steel. So it's kind of psychological alchemy there. You take a strong emotion, and then you blend it with another. Like you blend it with your thoughts. That's what you're doing. Emotions added with your thoughts. I need to get this done. How do we get it done? Right, it's going to be done. And that's kind of the driven way of doing it. But that's more the alpha. And while when men do have their release, they're going to be more beta. And I guess really the sex drive of the male determines that kind of circadian rhythm they have. You know, some people are more active than others. Some men are quite happy to have sex every day. Some men once a week, maybe some are less than that. Or they might be interested in different kinds of things. You know, there might be kind of strong attraction, but maybe not a physical interest in the same way. It might be more in a kind of different approach to it, more sensual or whatever. We're all different. But anyway, so the more the hack is about, this works on people, is that to get something that you want, you become more alpha. But when you've got something you wanted, and you're in abundance, you become more beta. So if you stop a man from eating, you're going to get him riled. You're going to get him into a more an alpha state. If you stop a man from sleeping, or this prevents in some way, he's likely to be more alpha. There's certain times when he's a bit beta alpha because but if he starts to go to sleep, then he's becoming beta, and then if you're interrupting, you're pushing back into an alpha state. So sometimes I've had in the past that somebody would I'm trying to get to sleep, but somebody would want to talk to me about loads of stuff, and it's because I'm vulnerable. It's literally, it's not because they need to talk about this before they sleep. They know that I'm not going to go anywhere. They've got my undivided attention. It's a mind control thing, and then you basically say, look, I need to go to sleep. Can we talk about this tomorrow? So then at that point you reach an alpha. So if somebody sort of wants to argue, or they're fed up with you, they're in an alpha mode. But if they say, oh look, it's all right, my love, let's go chat about that tomorrow, they're still in that beta state. However, you don't want to push it because they say, look, you talked about last night, I don't want to talk about it. So these kind of things that are in there, it's a bit like food. If the bloke's eating a lot of food, if you wanted to, or not a bloke, it could be a woman as well. They might have different patterns. Women might be more in tune with certain things and not realise it. Like they don't like to eat a lot in public or be seen. It might make them more reverse, like alpha, might be more self-conscious of what they're eating. However, if they do have a big meal, or maybe it may be alcohol sometimes, when women quite like a bit of wine and let their hair down, but rather than to sort of sensually manipulate somebody, so because often people are more sort of they're less reserved and more open and stuff. It would be a time when possibly you could raise some issues there, and then you could put something into the person's mind that they might have to deal with, like we need to talk about this tomorrow. Let's have fun now, but that's it's slipping it in there. It's a subtle manipulation of seeding in a thought, mixing something serious with something fun. But you've said it several times, so it's enough to be stuck in as a memory, and they might bring it up later. But if they've been drinking, then they're a different state of mind. So it's kind of tuning into this. So throughout the day, people shifted from alpha back to beta, to alpha to beta. Yes, I mean there's going to be times in the month where a woman is more alpha and beta, and also for men. Like I said, once they've released themselves sexually at some level, or they've kind of got some pleasure out of something, then they're slightly in a different mode of thinking. So something they've had a big meal, they've had a big sleep. They've just after they've work out in the gym. Now they might be still kind of alpha going down if they gym, depends what they've done there. So that's something to look at. How alert they are and how active. Because really, the alpha and the beta is just like the two sides of the brain. The one part is going to be more critical thinking and logistics, while the other one is suggestive. It's given in visual feedback. They're visualising things. And so there's a little trick also men you can get, because they're quite visual creatures. So they are tapping into that side. If they're not, then they're probably more going to be the left side brained. And it could also explain the attraction to maybe alpha males as well, because the other part is considered more feminine. The creative side, the artistic side. So what you're doing is in general you're trying to even out. You're trying to create something psychologically that's evened out as a kind of being. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, you think if someone stopped you eating, how annoyed you are. I mean, it would get me. Somebody said, look, you can't have that until we do this. But there's ways to sort of, I need, you could do the reverse. I mean, there's other things that give, well, maybe it's not just a sexual, it's about gratification. So, say for instance, I'm going to take a woman shopping or out for a meal. She's looking forward to that. So she's very receptive. But then I say, well, we've got to do something first. Like, we've got to sort this thing out at the bank, or you put the work in front of the reward, and then it generates a different scenario, more alpha. There'll be more of a need to get that sorted because I want to check out what's in the sales or whatever. It depends on this particular person's psychology. But if they're into particular things, like, they want to get, say, it might sound almost sexy, like they're interested in certain shoes or handbags or whatever, sales or whatever they kicks on, then if that's put beyond, you want to put that beyond the work, basically. The work you used to get them to do whatever you're looking to do. So it could be that you raise certain topics and things get sorted out. So that's kind of how you can play it. I mean, often you just want to keep changing. It's not about romance as well. You want to keep changing your approach. Now, for a lot of guys, the driving force is quite simple. Is the logic dictates to the imaginative part of their mind what they want. So they say, oh, I'd like a relationship. They imagine what it looks like, and then they try to create that in their world. But what they do is they don't keep re-evaluating that image. However, a woman would reason that image, what that means, and would be willing to sort of, change that image for somebody else, like, well, actually he's probably better or whatever. While the guy may be looking for the best, but it's more of a visual thing, a genetic thing. So seeing that she's attractive, seeing that she's healthy, and that's kind of switch that driver on, and then the rest of it's kind of the personality. But he knows the personality can shift in the woman, and most women are quite socially adaptable and other things, so it's a bit more difficult. But if you're looking for a soulmate, obviously you're going to be looking for things that would attract you to somebody who's a friend as well, that they've got certain interests they share and other things, and then you can grow into them interests as well, and that kind of builds that foundation relationship. So with the MGTOWs, you can get really, or whatever you want to call it, PGTOWs and MGTOWs, you want to get back into integrating once you've done lots of work on yourself, and also you don't want to be vulnerable again, you don't want to ever put yourself in that position again, and so you've got to apply your own kind of science. So this is my psychological science to people, that there's alpha states and beta states. There's times when it works with people and it doesn't. Like if I was working on a relationship and you're in the friend zone, the maximum you want to be in there probably is a month, because by that time, like I say, she would have gone full cycle in her. She would have gone beta and alpha, so she's either attracted to you or she's not attracted to you. But there'll be a time when you'll be more attractive to her, and it's probably that she dresses in a certain way. And what you do is just make sure you compliment on that. I mean, men might be the same. They may do things to get themselves, it's like if they work on their appearance and groom themselves for a date, then they're looking to sort of make a strong connection. If they're dressing down to go out with you, then they might be just want to unwind with you. They're not looking for anything more serious. They're not making an effort. They don't assume they're going to be back at your place later on today, sort of thing. So certain signals in men must be similar to women. They just apply themselves differently. Like he's wearing new clothes rather than he's wearing something he just dragged out of his wardrobe, or he's got himself a new deodorant. It might be very basic with men. They might be not so complicated as colour match the outfit and and have a bigger plan to it. So anyway, this is a big sign off, and have a great one. Okay.